with the Western world and Russia, but it's also building relations, concrete relations with countries who are eager for development and finding a middle way between superpowers. So I think that we are drawing the figure of Egypt's diplomacy is to have stable relationship with every country in every continent. This is a great job that was done also by Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry. He visited Japan lately also. So it's very important to understand that Egypt's diplomacy under President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi now is very clear that we will have a role of mediation in every conflict, whether the Libyan conflict, whether the Sudanese conflict, whether the Israeli-Arab conflict. We are present everywhere. We have a role of mediation. We are a regional power. Well, some countries didn't wish us the recovery since 2011. Well, we disappointed them, fortunately, and we came back. And I think that we have more to do under the presidency of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who is a man of the clear word. We never blackmailed any of the European countries concerning fighting terrorism, fighting illegal immigration. We are starting to work on our infrastructure. We invited Japan, China,
Let's say that
and
our
Russia.
diplomacy is very much built on integrity.
Yes, of course.
And transparency, and we are so clear in showing our vision. If we speak about economy, and this G20 is built on economy. Usually economy was always a reflection, or it reflects highly on the political and other aspects. From your point of view, do you think that economic and development and discussing means of bridging gaps, particularly in economy, would really reflect on other files? But when we speak about terrorism, when we speak about political differences, when we speak about aspects of how to narrow gaps between some of the countries, can we really say that this G20, while discussing economy, would be also tackling such important files?
Of course, because look, for example, when the escalation took place in the Strait of Hormuz, we had the problem of the oil and oil prices.
Definitely.
Which is of course economy. When we started investing in our oil fields, and then Turkey started harassing Cyprus and the Mediterranean, the gas fields also, the gas prices went up, of course. So it's all geopolitics is related to economy in this kind of relationship. But still, let's say that the superpowers are eager not to make things escalate, because economies everywhere in the world are not doing really good. Something has to be done by stabilizing the situation and calming it, whether in the Gulf or in the Eastern Mediterranean. That's why I think that the G20 could be a kind of overture for the leaders to talk. I don't know if President Putin would meet his counterpart, President Trump, or not. We don't know. Well, President Trump is full of surprises in these cases. But I think that this kind of meeting, if it takes place, it will help us understand lots of things. because yesterday the trilateral security meeting in Israel between Russia, the United States, and Israel, the representative of Russia, he said we would not let the escalation take place in this region because we have economic interests, as he said, and we have geopolitical interests, so we won't permit the escalation with Iran to take place as the United States wants. So I think that
as the United States want? Does really the United States want an escalation, or it's just...
escalation does not mean war. Escalation does not mean war. It could be 2 steps from war, but it's not, still, it's not war. It's very different. Escalation is something that could trigger tensions. Some, like the drone, for example, that was hit by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, a U.S. drone. Well, there was no U.S. action, and President...
No, there was. Mr. Trump, he declared some new sanctions on Iranian figures, and yes, indeed, but it was unmanned drone, and this is very much disputed, as Iran showed a map that it was on the territories of Iran, and the U.S. side denied this issue, and it is. But at the end of the day, we're speaking about an escalation of words.
Escalation of what?
Of words.
Yes, escalation concerning the fate of the Strait of Hormuz, the fate of the conflict in Yemen. It's like this is another way of pressuring. Look, when this took place, the second day, the next day, there was Abha in Saudi Arabia that was hit. An airport in Saudi Arabia was hit.
The Abha airport.
And,
yes, indeed.
And the infiltration of some Houthi fighters is taking place, didn't stop. So we see that it's like a chess game. There are some moves are being done. The Americans are, as President Trump said it, he is counting on his own interest for his country. So some countries in this region has to be aware of this huge game. I think that the G20 would be an excellent meeting for all these leaders to talk about, well, what's next.
And I think Egypt has a lot to say about it.
Of course.
Before we continue on with our discussion, here is another report, and the Prime Minister reviews Egypt's economic indicators in Arab-German Forum. Let's watch the report and we'll come back for discussion.
تحية تقدير واحترام لبطل حقيقي. البطل ده هو مصر وشعبها. الحكاية مش حكاية لا حكومة ولا قيادة، ده حكاية كل مواطن في مصر. أكرمت مصر وشرفت مصر وعزيت مصر. أنتم قتلتم، فالشرف كل الشرف والكرامة كل الكرامة والفضل كل الفضل لله سبحانه وتعالى، ثم ليكم انتم. شرفتوني واكرمتموني وعزتوني ورفعتوا راسي قدام الدنيا كلها باللي انتم عملتوه. والله 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 لن يستطيع اي رئيس يقف مكاني هنا انه يقدر يعمل حاجه بدونكم. لن يستطيع. قصه وطن يتحدث عن نفسه، شعب أراد الحياة فاستجاب له القدر.
The Arab-German Business Forum kicked off on Wednesday in Berlin with the participation of Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, who delivered a speech to review the economic indicators of Egypt. The importance of Egypt's participation in this year's forum is that it is the guest of honor, and so the Egyptian participation represents an excellent opportunity to promote the investment opportunities that Egypt possesses. The forum is attended by about 600 businessmen from both the Arab and German sides. It is an important economic and investment forum for cooperation and economic and trade partnerships. Egypt signed 7 cooperation agreements with Germany. Meanwhile, Egypt and Germany agreed to start preparing a framework of cooperation agreement between the Egyptian and German railways. Prime Minister Madbouli highlighted that Egypt is on track to achieve a surplus of 2% of gross domestic product in the fiscal year 2018-2019. Premier Madbouli said during his speech at the Arab-German Business Forum that foreign reserves have recovered to exceed pre-2011 levels, reaching a record level of $44.3 billion by the end of May 2019, compared to $14.9 billion in June 2013. The Prime Minister stated that the objectives of the economic reform program launched in 2016 have borne fruit, referring to Egypt's growth rate of 5.6% in 2018-2019, which makes Egypt one of the strongest and highest growth rates in the region among emerging economies. He pointed out that Egypt's participation as a guest of honor of the forum this year reflects the appreciation and confidence of the Arab and German sides for Egypt's success in the past few years. Madbouli stressed that Egypt considers Germany as one of the major partners in the economic development efforts, not only in the Europe but globally.
تعرف اسمنا المصريين، لا تحكمت فينا الموت ولا هزنا من ألف غول، ولا كنا يوم ناقصين عقول ولا ضالين. افتح كتب التاريخ واقرا لآخر الكتاب، احنا الدولة اللي قامت لما كان الكون تراب. عدى بمركب بلاده لما البحر كان غريب. احنا في ظهرك يا سيسي.